Where the Lonely Ones Roam by Glimmerglanger. Read by Exmanhater. Adora did not wake up, and did not wake up, and did not wake up. Not even when Catra shook her as fiercely as she dared. Adora just slept, fighting for breath, with dark circles under her eyes and healing blisters across her skin. Catra cleaned her wounds and fed her broth, made from a small bird she'd caught after a tremendous amount of work, and sat. She wrapped her arms around her legs and picked at the healing wounds beneath her fur. She wondered sometimes what she would do if Adora didn't ever wake up, if she just drifted away, never regaining consciousness. Those thoughts dragged Catra over to curl carefully around the worst of the wounds, so she could put an arm over Adora's ribs. Purring felt strange. It had been years since she'd given in to the urge, but she focused all of her energy into it, pressing her face against Adora's shoulder, willing her back to wakefulness. She dreamed one night, curled up against Adora. Perhaps staying in the hut, smelling blood and burnt skin, had made the dream inevitable. Perhaps it was more of a memory. In the dream, she was a child again, laughing and running through her village. In the dream, her mother called to her, only her tone of voice surviving, the happiness in her voice morphing in an instant to something horrified and pained. In her dream, Catra was in another hut, curled up against a different body, her hand pressed flat on her mother's stomach. In the dream, she screamed until her voice went away, and a shadow fell over her, and a smooth voice said, "Well, well, well, you're a noisy one, aren't you?" Catra woke up with the taste of vomit in her mouth. She scrambled away from Adora out of the hut, bent at the waist, and emptied her stomach onto the ground. "Wow," Swiftwind said from across the clearing. "That's super disgusting. Do you want some water?" Catra spat on the ground. She asked, holding onto the wall for support, "Do you have parents?" For a moment, she got no reply, and then Swiftwind made a little huffing sound. I must, I guess, somewhere. I don't remember them. I don't really remember what it was like when I was just a horse." Catra nodded. "Lucky you," she said. Adora stirred on the third day, cracking her pale eyes open and murmuring fitfully. She tried to lift one hand off of the blankets and dropped it back almost immediately, her fingers shaking. Catra stared, huddled in the corner of the hut, pausing in the act of sharpening the blade across her knees. She'd found the old kitchen knife under the stove. She thought for a moment of staying quiet, just letting Adora fall back into her fever dreams. But Adora stirred again, making a soft hurt sound, and Catra rose, going to her. She leaned over, fetching a damp rag from the bowl on the floor, wiping at the sweat gathered across Adora's face. The fever had arrived in the night, chasing the chill out of Adora's skin. Adora shivered at the touch, her eyes moving fitfully, unfocused. "Hey, Adora," Catra said, something twisting tight in her chest, the beginnings of anger. She felt her claws lengthen, just imagining what Adora would say, her inevitable high-handed and holier-than-thou response. Catra ground her jaw together, preemptive anger licking up the back of her spine. And Adora blinked up at her, her eyes dull, smiled softly, and said, "Oh, Catra, it's you." Her eyes closed again, then, and she went boneless across the gathered blankets, leaving Catra staring down at her, all full of the ashes of anger, with an empty ache in the pit of her stomach. Catra turned her face aside, scrubbing the back of her wrist across her eyes, and fussed with the blankets around Adora's shoulders until satisfied with the way they fell. Adora woke more frequently after that, for brief snatches of time. The second time she woke, it was the middle of the night, and she awoke Catra from a fitful sleep by rasping, "Catra?" "I'm here," Catra said, curled up beyond the edge of the blankets, rising and trying to stretch the aches away. She hadn't felt right curling up against Adora. She certainly hadn't been willing to risk purring, not with Adora flirting with a return to consciousness. "It's dark," Adora croaked, pain in her voice, along with something that might have been fear in someone else. "It's midnight," Catra said. She saw well enough in the dark, but Adora did not have her eyes. "Oh," Adora said, moving her hands around across the blanket like she was looking for something. She was only tangling the blankets, and Catra reached out to still her. Adora caught her wrist and held on, trembling in her skin. "You're really here," she said. "Looks like," Catra said, but she wasn't speaking to anyone. Adora slumped back, falling once more into her deep sleep, her fingers curled around Catra's wrist.